Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make the dimensional roses. So what you want to do is you need a 6-petal, just a plain, really simple flower like this. You can cut this with the Cricut. If you cut it with the Cricut, your shape is going to come out more like this one. This we cut with the George cartridge, and it's just not quite even, but you know what, that's okay. I gave you a template for this, so you can just trace and cut this out, which is what I did for mine. If you do this, you're just going to end up with just a little bit larger flower. Not a big deal either way. So you need 3 of these. So you want to cut out 3 of these flowers. They can either be 6 or 7 petals. So then you're going to take your 3 flowers. For one of them, you're just going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut. Just make a cut right into the center, just like that. On another one, you're going to take it and you're going to cut one of the petals out in a teardrop shape. Don't throw that away. We're going to use it. Put that off to the side. And then the third one, you're going to actually cut 2 petals out into a heart shape. And once again, you want to go ahead and put those off to the side. Now, what you want for this is you also are going to need some liquid adhesive, or you can use hot glue. Either one of them will work. And you want something to kind of roll your petals on. A bamboo skewer works great. Now, one of the things you can do is, flowers usually have a little bit of a variation in their petals. And so you can take a darker color, like this is called Fired Brick, and just go ahead and ink the outside of your petals a little bit. You can do it, you can also do your petals out of different variations of red if you want to kind of give it a little bit of a different look. You can do, red ink on pink. You can just really kind of play around with your colors. You can also glimmer mist these, with a spray ink. I would recommend probably doing that after the whole thing is assembled and dry. And you can just go ahead and give it a kind of a spritz of glimmer mist. So you can go ahead and just ink up your petals a little bit. You could do this later if you wanted to, but it's probably easier to do it now. Okay, so we are going to start with the largest petal, or the largest flower. What we're going to do is we're going to overlap 2 of those petals like that. So we're going to take a little bit of our liquid adhesive or hot glue. You can try glue dots with this. Sometimes they hold and sometimes they don't. So just go ahead and put a little bit of liquid adhesive there. Liquid adhesive, of course, you have to kind of hold it till it dries. And you're just going to kind of make that into a cone shape like this. And then you're just going to kind of put that off to the side to dry a little bit. I got a little bit too much, so I got it all over my fingers. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to do the same thing with the one where you cut out just 1 petal. So put a little bit of a liquid adhesive on one of those petals, and then you're just going to move that other petal over, overlap that, and you're just going to fold that into kind of a cone shape. Like this. Sorry, I kind of made a mess. I kind of got a lot of glue on there. So that's one of the nice things about hot glue is that you get that instant drying. And it's okay if this is going to be a little bit shiny, because I'm going to go through after I'm all done and give it a little shot of glimmer mist anyway. Okay, so we've got our so now we have one that is 5 petals and one that is 4, and then we've got our last one that we cut the heart shape out of. We're going to do the same thing, a little bit of glue on one of those petals and overlap that, and you're going to end up with a 3-petal set of flowers for this. Now, what I would do is I would recommend, you could go ahead and take your bamboo skewer at this point and just kind of roll those back if you wanted to. Or you can wait until the flower's all done and do it then. It doesn't really make any difference. Okay, so we've got these 3 nice little cone shapes like this. So what we're going to do next is we're going to overlap those inside of each other. First off, before we start that though, we're going to cut just the very tip of each of those cones off, just because it will make the flower, we want it to kind of fit down into each other. We don't want it to be too tall. So you can just go ahead and cut off just a little bit off of the bottom of each one of those. You see that. And then we're just going to go ahead, we're going to start with our largest one. Just go ahead and put a little bit of your glue just around the bottom there. And then you're going to put the next set of petals in there. Just kind of set it down into that. Kind of offset it a little bit, like a flower looks. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next set. We're going to put the 3-petal in there. Just kind of set that down. You want to make sure that it's engaging all of that liquid glue down in there. So just kind of let that sit for a second and to kind of dry. You want to make sure your petals aren't stuck together. So you do want to make sure that they are separated. So we're just going to let that sit kind of off to the side to dry for a second. We're going to do the inner petals. Make sure that it's in there good. Okay, so we've got this little heart shape and we've got this little center one. So what we're going to do with the heart shape is we're going to fold one side of the heart back, and we're going to fold one side of the heart forward, and we're going to wrap them around and kind of make like a little ice cream cone almost, like that. And then you can kind of pinch them together at the bottom. And that's going to give us that great little rose-like center that you get at the center of a rose. And so what we're going to do there is we're going to just take a little bit of our liquid adhesive and kind of glue that down. Kind of pinch that down like this. It almost kind of looks like a little bit of a mouth opening up there too. So, and then with the last one, we're just going to roll it. Just roll it along your bamboo skewer into a cone shape. That's just going to give us, once again, just a little bit more of a petal in the center. You can kind of take your finger and kind of work the edge. And then we're just going to put a little bit of glue down in there and just kind of shove that last petal down inside there. Like this. See how that kind of looks like the center of a rose? So then the next thing that you can do is we've got our other petals. We've kind of set them aside to dry. We're going to put glue once again down in the center there. And then what we're going to do, since this has got a point on it, we cut that middle part off. We can go ahead and push this flower all the way down in through there. And so that's going to create our dimensional rose. Now what we want to do now is when it's all drying is take your bamboo skewer and just go around those petal edges and just roll those back into a rose shape. And that's what's really going to give you that dimensional flower look that you're going to get when you get all done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of my glimmer mist once this is all dry, and I'm just going to give the whole thing a spritz so that it will have a nice glistening effect. See how when you roll those petals back, how much more lifelike that looks. And if you're having trouble with this inside petal, you can take your bamboo skewer and kind of, mine's kind of coming apart a little bit here, and just kind of stick it down in there. Use the pointy end. And then you can just kind of fold that up with your fingers and stuff, and that's what's going to give you that great dimensional flower. And so that's going to be our flower. That's going to be our embellishment on our fun frame, and then I'll show you the rest of it all finished up here in just a second. Thanks.